Greetings. This evening, I'd like to share with you my experience of dealing with the loss of my son. 8 years ago, my only son, Alex Thomas Haug, died by suicide. He was a personable, caring, talented, and widely loved young man, and he gave me every reason to love him dearly every day for the almost 25 years that we had him. It's been over just 8 years that I've traveled what has been termed a grief journey. And as I reflect back and look at my many experiences over that time, when I think of it as a journey, I realize that there isn't any clear destination. Instead, I look at those 8 years as being a series of course corrections, as I have tried to navigate through the trauma, the evolving grief, the search for meaning, the heartache and sorrow, and the inevitable soul-searching. My experience with the all-consuming grief that came from the trauma of losing Alex was life-altering. And why wouldn't it be? That grief was a beast of a thing. It was ravenous in its hunger to consume me. I not only lost connection with Alex, but I also lost connection with the others in my life I most loved. The feeling of disconnection with everything familiar was overwhelming. My sense of self, where does it go when you lose touch with who you think you are? I felt disconnected from anything or anyone I might call a touchstone or an anchor that could give me something to hold on to. Alone, adrift, immobilized, deep in despair. What a place from which to start a journey. For me to journey from a starting point such as this, there had to be a decision to start. And I would never suggest that that is as simple as it sounds. First, I needed to find my way to wanting to start. I had experienced how despair can drain away any and all resolve. Wanting to start came from a dim sense of hope that my family, my wife and daughter and I, would pull through this. I told myself Alex would want that. But the idea of future was unimaginable. In order to fuel that hope, I needed to find something to reach for, and I suppose that's when the journey started. One cautious step. So I began to explore the terrain by reading and reading and reading about suicide loss. Lost in the wilderness, no apparent path. Acknowledge the grief. Be kind to yourself. Begin cautiously. There was lots of information out there. With an empty heart, I filled my head. One more step taken. I returned to journal writing to plumb the depths of my pain and the many difficult questions. Putting pen to paper, the tears flowed. I thought of it as salting the page. Thankfully, with the encouragement from others, I came to understand I can't do this by myself. Reaching out to others was not my first inclination. I have been socialized to be independent, show strength, and bury difficult emotions. I came to realize that these were obstacles to navigating through this grief journey. And from that realization, I've come to deeply regret not being a better example to Alex, a better example by sharing my weaknesses, exposing my vulnerabilities, my painful emotions. I'd like to see the message change to big boys cry. What do you feel? I was stalled at a place where I had no sense as to where next to step. Seeking the help of a counselor versed in suicide loss was very beneficial. Counseling helped me by exposing perspectives that I alone was unable to see. On this journey, I had found a guide. The process felt like passing through uncharted territory, but one foot was following the other. More steps. This experience has cracked me open emotionally and led me to understand how important it is to have connections with others who have had a loss to suicide. We can only know what each other is dealing with. Being part of a suicide loss survivors support group and sharing with others the challenges and progress of each other's journey has been empowering. That emotional rawness I carried led me to become almost hypersensitive to the suffering of others. Tears would flow just watching the news. However, this sensitivity to the pain of others became fertile ground for cultivating compassion. I came to look for opportunities to offer support, not really knowing how, but believing offering support was how to take more steps. Through attending this event for the first time, I found the support of this community and the encouragement to remember lost loved ones so beneficial. My hand went up when I realized the organizing committee was largely volunteer-run, and it's been my good fortune to have been part of this dedicated group for 7 years. Other volunteer efforts have followed, one of which involved telling Alex's story to young people in the trades through the Tough Enough to Talk About It program. It was difficult looking out over a classroom of young welders and imagining Alex in one of the empty seats. Some steps are harder than others. On this journey, not all of my steps were forward. That beast lingered in the shadows and chose its own time to chase me into the darkness. My steps forward were deliberate and measured. Slipping backward always had a sense of losing control. My journey has matured in character over these 8 years. That intense, acute grief has gone through a metamorphosis over that time and shape-shifted into what I now feel as heartache and sorrow. The sorrow that I feel for the loss of my son now travels with me as a quiet companion. I don't hear from it as often now, but when I pay attention, I feel its presence. It's a part of me. Surprisingly, I've come to find its familiarity somewhat comforting, for it always offers a reminder of who I have loved so deeply. And so, here I am, ready to take the next step. That concludes my story, but before I leave you, I am so grateful to be able to introduce my daughter, Cayley Thomas. From suicide loss, we each have a unique and personal journey to navigate, and Cayley has used songwriting and performance in her journey. She will share with you a reflection in song on the loss of her brother.
Hello everyone, my name is Cayley Thomas and this is my wonderful collaborator Connor Snell, and we are both very honored to be here. We're going to perform a song I wrote. It's called In a While, and I wrote it for my brother who we lost in 2012, and I sent it out to any of you in the spirit of healing. So sending you a lot of love through the screen. This is In a While for Alex. Seasons keep on changing, you remain the same, always 1 month short of 25. Your t-shirts fit me funny, your friends gave me your records. They see you when they look into my eyes, and I still suck at foosball. I guess that's no surprise. It's hard to win without you by my side.
seaside. My, hey, hey, forever and a day. In my thoughts you'll stay. Seasons keep on changing, you remain the same, always one mind.